Welcome to the League of Morons podcast. We're here for another horrifying semester. I wanted to introduce ourselves because there's a lot of people who haven't heard this podcast and will continue to not hear this podcast. I'm Jeff Blunt. I started it over here, and we're here with my co-morons. So say your names.
Hi, I'm Quentin. I'm just trying to get out of the school as quickly as possible. A few more semesters. No, actually, no, one more semester.
A few more? How did you fuck that up?
Well, there's a chance I couldn't graduate.
What's your name? I'm Matt. I have one more semester here, much like Quentin, and I'm not confused about
the administrators.
Hopefully
are really happy.
Hopefully we have one more semester.
Yeah, so you're welcome, Briggsy. I'm almost out of here.
And I'm Jack, and I've got 2 more semesters.
Again, I'm glad we went through that icebreaker. Welcome to the most hateful podcast.
Interesting fact.
At Berry College. It's about 30 minutes of anger. So Jack, you wanna begin with what you're frustrated about today?
What grinds your gears? Well, let me tell you, Jen. My gears have been grinded this week. Mm-hmm. So I'm a member of the Solidarity Week committee. Well, at least I was. I probably won't be after this. But Solidarity Week started. This is the 3rd year, so 2 years ago. Diamond Newsome, who's a friend of mine, started the week when she was really kind of disgusted by the events that took place in Charlottesville. So when a guy ran a car into a bunch of protesters, he was a white supremacist, neo-Nazi, and
he was not a fine person.
And he despite our president's remarks, he was not a fine person. And he ran a car into
people on both sides,
protesters and killed. How many did he kill?
It was just one.
Just one? Okay, but seriously injured a couple others. So anyways, Diamond wanted to start this week because she figured that there were a lot of people at Berry who were probably also disgusted by the events and also kind of disappointed and irritated by the administration's lack of any sort of response or addressing the events.
Well, why would they?
And the tension in our country.
Because they're all white.
And so it was a good idea, and I think that like everything at Berry, it was spoiled by our administration, who.
But
they're so
administration poisons everything.
Everything.
But they're so competent.
Well,
how did they spoil it, Jack?
Well, the first year, like one of Diamond's big things is she wanted to have a blackout. Like she wanted people to wear black, and like as a sign of solidarity and kind of like mourning for the things that happened. And then the administration was like, "That's too aggressive.
This is so fucking stupid."
Yeah,
that was so dumb.
Black is it's a scary color. And
can you imagine mourning in black?
Yeah.
Like people have done for thousands of years?
Yeah, apparently black wasn't appropriate, and so they decided to have a Wear Berry Day. And so everyone was supposed to wear like berry attire, paraphernalia. But I mean,
we all wear berry.
All
the time.
Wear berry.
So Solidarity Week turned into Spirit Day.
Yes,
that's what I'm hearing.
Yes, that's exactly. The administration saw it as an opportunity to sell shirts, and that's what it turned into the first year. Second year, last year, went pretty well. In my opinion, so she put together the committee to kind of, because the first year obviously wasn't that great. But it was well intended, and people enjoyed it and wanted it to be better for the next year. And so we put a committee together, which I was on, and we had this idea of having a dinner where people get together, eat food, and discuss like controversial topics to try to open an actual dialogue, because we figured like that was the thing that was missing from Solidarity Week, was actually encouraging a productive.
What kinds of controversial topics?
Yeah, so the way it was structured was, it was called the Flippin' Out Dinner, and it was just structured around different statements. So things like, Matt and I actually wrote all the statements.
So a lot about gymnastics and stuff?
And
ballet. Yeah.
And I think one of them was like Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve, like that, those kinds of things.
There
was definitely an abortion one. Yeah, they were definitely like controversial statements.
Yeah.
And that was the point, was to get people talking about them. And then we had a professor or faculty member at each table to kind of facilitate the conversation, because, you know, we have this giant group of trained facilitators of conversation, or professors
Who are smart as shit.
yeah, who have fucking PhDs.
Yeah.
and so I thought that
They know a thing or two.
it like, as far as like the events go for Solidarity Week, this was clearly the one that had the most potential to be actually impactful, and I saw it as like the most like yeah, I thought it was the best event of the week. But this year it's different. So Bonner is funding it, so they decided that they were going to run it as well and do all the planning for it.
What is
So Bonner hasn't funded it in the past.
The first year there was like a table talk where they just printed out little sheets of paper and put them on the dining hall
It was
tables.
fucking dumb.
And they were the worst questions imaginable.
From
and
Bonner?
It was like
No.
I remember the first one. The first one's the only one I remember because it was just ridiculous. And it was like, talk about a time you felt uncomfortable or something like that.
Reading
that
this
was,
stupid ass question.
like, that was it.
No one has ever answered that question truthfully.
You should describe what Bonner is, Jack.
I don't know what Bonner is.
I'm looking
It's
it
a
up right
service
now.
scholarship.
Yeah,
I
it's a
think.
scholarship where
they're-
they take they have to work a certain amount of hours for it's kind
Well,
of
it's
like
not-
a gate, but they have
yeah,
to do it's
but
like
I think
service.
it's volunteer. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
volunteer service as opposed to gate, where gate is like working for a campus job.
Which is fine, but I don't think it gives them any authority to lead a discussion about
No, but so that was one of
nuances
the
of
big
race.
controversies was that
It's too
there
controversial.
were two groups kind of in the Solidarity Week committee. There were people who thought that it needed to be proctored by faculty members, you know, the trained professionals with PhDs who literally every day for their job facilitate discussions about potentially controversial and complicated issues.
That idea has potential.
And then there was another camp in the committee which was, we're uncomfortable expressing ourselves in front of professors.
Oh, children. You mean?
So
Fuck those
we
kids.
think that it should be facilitated by students who have no training. And my response, of course, to this is, well, if you feel uncomfortable talking in front of professors, maybe you shouldn't be in college.
You're a child.
And
Yeah.
you should-
You
Yeah.
are a child.
You should leave. But anyways, so basically, Bonner took it over. It's not going to be facilitated by professors, and instead of using controversial topics and issues to discuss, they're going to do poetry, artwork, and images as prompts.
Any controversial images? Do you have any idea?
The Bonner student who described it was unable to convey exactly what like the theme would be.
Well, that's
or-
good.
Seems like we have a big plan
they
worked
said
out.
that there was an image of an Asian man standing in front of a field.
Damn it.
And that's
Well,
all I got.
why use a controversial and evocative quote to provoke a dialogue about the systemic nature of racism and ethnic strife when instead you could use a dumb fucking picture?
Yeah.
That's abstract and
you
has no direct meaning.
or a
And we
poem.
can spend the entire conversation trying to
And so
parse out what the picture actually means.
exactly.
instead of a
And-
quote.
Exactly. And I think that it's troubling because and I don't think everyone on the committee was entirely on board with this, but it doesn't matter because Bonner's funding the dinner, so they can do whatever the fuck they want.
Nothing.
But
Do
like
nothing.
Diamond herself, when she heard this, was like, I know that like personally I have, and I don't want to misquote Diamond, so this is how I remember what she said, but she was like, I know I sometimes struggle with like trying to interpret like English, like in English class, like poetry and stuff. So I am a little concerned about how that's gonna work out, which is a great point.
It's one of those things I think that we've talked about several times before that is a problem that we see a lot here at Barry. I mean, unfortunately, we're not a very diverse group at this table, so it's hard to comment on these
What are you
things.
talking about?
But I mean, it feels like the administration is intentionally and systemically trying to avoid any kind of conversation that might bring in some kind of discomfort to their student body, which
Yeah.
is not representative at all of the general population. I mean, our minority groups are a very small percentage of our population.
Yeah.
I mean, all the way up through the administration. I mean, I don't know very many minority faculty members, very minority professors. I mean, it's just like few and far between. So I feel like it's just a continuous blocking of real world issues that students, when we leave
Yep.
here, it's crazy that when you graduate, you have to go work
In the real
in
world,
the real world.
You have to leave the Berry bubble?
Yeah.
people don't all get a job at Chick-fil-A.
Some of them.
Kristen Chicken.
A lot of them
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
So did Bonner cite a reason as to why they're changing
did,
this
actually.
process?
Well,
what was it?
The Bonner person didn't realize I was sitting right next to them and that I was the person who had written all the like statements from last year, but they opened when they were describing the poetry and shit, they opened it with, so I was looking over the statements from last year and I just thought they were too controversial, and it was just like, you mean like the
Right
entire
ahead.
point of the dinner?
Exactly.
You mean like exactly what we set out to do? But you know, they're changing it up. They're gonna try something new. I think it's gonna be a disaster, but maybe it won't be.
Fingers crossed.
I'm signed up for it.
Yeah, as am I.
I kind of want to see what happens.
We all saw that you were signed up for it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're ready
Um,
for poems.
I'm really excited for some poems.
yeah. There's one other event that I think potentially could be good. There's a panel being blank at Barry, and so there's a variety of students who are going to be on the panel from different backgrounds.
Will they have someone representing the straight white Christian woman?
They actually
Because-
do. Well, they have a. I think they have a white guy. Maybe? No, maybe it's a. Actually, I don't remember. They have. I think they do have a white person. I mean, which is representative of
Do
Barry.
you think they have an
But-
irreligious person on there?
No.
I think they should set it up.
Can I volunteer?
Yo,
can
can
I
we
be the
please?
atheist?
No, I
Oh,
think
we
but-
have to.
So and then so it's gonna be set up where people can ask questions or like text in questions for the thing,
Right.
and also Ryan Moran Moran.
Yes.
He is one of the guys who's setting that up, and he emailed the people in the committee asking for questions for the panel, and so I submitted a question which probably isn't going to get asked, but my question was, is there a diversity problem at Barry? Because
that's not getting asked.
yeah, I know, which is crazy because this seems like the perfect time to ask it. But the reason I sent in that specific question is because Chantel Washington, who's in charge of the diversity initiative on campus, when I asked her that, she couldn't give me a straight answer. She was like dodging the questions, like, well, what do you mean by diversity? I was like, oh. I think
It's
by
it's
the
kind of
measures
implied.
that most
Yeah.
people use, like ethnic diversity
Mhm.
would be a good place to
Religious diversity.
start. Yeah,
Oh,
really any
Let's
measure
not-
of diversity.
Let's not get crazy.
Oh, you're
but-
right. You're right.
And then, so she couldn't give me a straight answer, which is weird because she's in charge of the diversity office on campus.
That's not encouraging.
No.
You should ask her what that
and then
means.
also-
what does it mean to be
I
the
know
director of
that-
the diversity initiative?
I know that.
That's a vague position. I
So
feel
who-
like.
who
That's.
is
I don't think that's her exact title.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
she's
It's
clearly
like-
not good at the job.
And then also Dr. Briggs says that
Briggsy.
there is not a diversity problem on this campus. So.
Well,
How can you walk around here and go, there's not a diversity
a
problem?
simple comparison of Barry's demographics
So-
to not Barry's demographics.
Yeah,
would
you
beg
could
to
use
differ.
Georgia demographics. Most students are from Georgia.
You could use
They're
Rome
not-
demographics.
They're not representative. Yeah, you could use Rome. You could use Northwest Georgia demographics. It's not representative of any population.
Yeah, what is Barry doing to reach out to the large population of undocumented Hispanic people in
that live in Rome.
in Rome's community? How is that? I mean, that seems like an epitome
They're
of the head,
raising
heart, and
tuition.
hands of. Oh, well, that's perfect.
Yeah.
There you go. Thanks, Briggsy.
Let me go ahead and cut any of our conversations off with this one statement. If you don't like it, you shouldn't have come here.
Go somewhere else.
Go somewhere
Yeah.
else.
Leave.
Or Briggsy's favorite line, I think, is, I don't see the educational value in it.
Yeah.
What's the educational value of diversity?
Yeah. Learning about other cultures and beliefs.
Languages.
You can do that in the
No.
classroom.
No, you can have someone show you a picture.
Exactly.
Professor, show
Exactly.
you how it is.
No, you can have a white Bonner student show you
Oh,
a picture.
that's-
In the picture,
You're
in a
right.
poem. That's how you
Well,
really learn.
I mean, if we really want to see if Barry has a diversity problem, we could just look at our board of trustees.
Oh, we could.
That
We
is
could.
true.
Which the
There's-
board.
There's one black. Member.
There is-
Are there
yeah.
any other minorities?
No, the
No.
board
And
is
there's 2 women.
there.
right?
No, there's 6 women.
Oh,
There's-
wow,
there-
that's
there
impressive.
are 24 board members, all of
There's way
whom
more
I
women than I
believe could be
thought.
classified as relatively ancient, but they are
Roundabout.
they are 96% white. There is one African American man on the panel or on the board. It is also 75% male for a college that was founded as a women's college and is still predominantly a woman's.
college.
Yeah,
like, has
majority
women
women.
Seems a little bit strange. And also around half of them
Yeah, they don't live in the area or proximate to the area. I don't believe.
Is
No.
like Buster Wright. I think,
But
is
Buster
he,
Wright
is he the only one?
No, there's Dr. Bushnell.
Oh, that's right,
And
yeah.
I mean, I don't like the board itself. I don't know the other than the few that are around here, and there are very engaged board of directors at Berry College.
I think Buster is one.
Buster is one of them that you
Yeah.
can definitely point to.
He's hard to fault, I think.
Exactly.
Oh, certainly.
But let's say the Grinwell, what's the president, like the
Griswold. Clark
chair?
Clark
Griswold.
Clark
Mr.
Griswold.
Yeah, it's Gary Griswold, I think is his name, is the head
the chair.
chair. Yeah,
I
yeah.
think it's just
He
him.
is from like Illinois or something.
Yeah, there's one that lives in California, one lives in Indiana, one's in Seattle.
California. I saw California.
Yeah, I mean the bottom line is that they're very removed from this college,
Yeah.
which is irritating because they're standing in the way of any change that's gonna.
Yeah,
occur.
they're who, I mean, and it makes sense, I guess. Like a lot of what this administration does seems like you can trace it back to the board being old, white, and male, and like condoms in the Lad Center seem like something a lot of LG, and I assume, given their age, probably straighter and conservative, that a lot of LGBT advocates and Empower advocates wanted condoms at the Lad Center, but those aren't groups that the Board of Trustees gives a shit about. So
Yeah.
nothing happened.
I mean, it would be interesting to know if these are decisions that are actually made at the board level, and if there is that disconnect.
Yes,
I mean,
well,
Briggs
so-
answers to the Board of
Yes,
Trustees.
so-
He has an answer to the current students.
Yes.
Briggs.
Yeah,
Briggsy.
Dr. Yeah.
Oh, Briggsy.
Briggsy. Yeah,
Briggsy.
okay.
Yeah,
Sorry.
you-
Messed up his
you-
name
you
there.
Stuttered there.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. I do apologize.
Idiot.
But yeah, I mean,
I'll
so
kill myself.
yeah, like no, like I, as far as I'm aware, like if we were to get visitation policy changed, right, we have to get it. It's gone through SG8 right now. It's at a committee phase, and then the committee is going to make a recommendation to Briggsy. But the thing is, Briggsy, his job is in the hands of the board, right?
Mm.
So he's going to do whatever the board wants him to do because he probably likes having a job. So
Is there
That's-
anything we can do to put pressure on Briggsy boy?
Is there anything we can do to get to the board of directors? I mean,
I mean,
Board of Trustees.
I think that probably talking to the ones that are around Rome,
Yeah.
Buster Wright and Dr.
Bushnell.
Dr. Bushnell, yeah.
are
There's
just
a few.
probably the best place to start.
I had talked to a professor earlier today about this, and
About visitation? Or about the
Board of
Okay.
Trustees and how they can be more or less of the way that they are, which is not really connected into Rome
Sure.
not representative of the student body. And his suggestion was maybe see if they would, and this will probably never happen, but would like let a student be appointed, like just one student to go, and then at least be like at the board meetings.
Well,
or
I mean,
listen to what they say.
Well, our SGA president is there. Anna Catherine's there.
I guess, but
I'm
does she have
fairly
any
certain.
does she have any power there, or is she just the normal useless SGA?
I'm sure she voices some student concerns.
Well, but does she have any power?
I'm sure
does
she has,
have
like, I'm
any
sure that-
vote?
I don't know. You'd have to ask her.
That's
I
a
would
tough
be
position to be in,
fascinated
though.
to have Anna Catherine on this podcast
I don't
if
think she'd
she
like us very
would
much.
be willing to.
That's
Which-
doubtful.
I would
but
welcome it. Yeah,
I'm
It's a
sorry.
dream.
I mean, I've had very pleasant interactions with Anna Catherine. And we've worked together.
I would give her a break in the boardroom setting simply
Yeah.
because if you are a 21-year-old SGA president with 24 board members, depending on how many,
Super wealthy,
Yeah,
powerful
they're not gonna.
people.
It wouldn't be easy to convey concerns. However, we did vote you as president of our
Yeah.
student body.
Well,
Yeah,
I mean, but
my sympathy.
but still, we don't know like what sort of power she would have.
I imagine it's none. I
Yes.
imagine they do not want to give a 20-something-year-old anything because they're all 1,000 years old.
I mean, I would like to have her on the podcast. I think it'd be interesting. This is a conversation for maybe outside the podcast. But let's
A
have-
lot of our conversations are outside of the podcast
The-
conversations.
The point is, our board doesn't represent Barry.
Yeah.
Our student body isn't diverse and doesn't represent Rome, doesn't represent Georgia, doesn't represent America, doesn't represent minority groups well. It doesn't represent LGBTQ plus well, and it doesn't do a very good job of bringing these issues to at least allow students the access to discuss these things so that when they do encounter these issues in the workforce, which is something that I think Barry has prided itself on, that we are a preparatory school for the workforce because we have a work program. If you're shielding our students from this, right?
But they make it. It's bullshit,
Yeah,
but
Right.
they make
And
it.
if you're shielding students from these real world issues, I mean, there are gray areas in every part of life that we're gonna have to deal with. And at Barry, the Barry bubble, we're protected from that so well that I think it just puts us at a severe disadvantage. And if that doesn't have educational value, Brixie, I don't know what does.
Rip Briggsy boy. It's a
So,
tough podcast for him.
So we're gonna stop it right here, and I think that
Hold on. Can we
want-
switch gears just like for a second?
yeah, sure.
This has been a pretty intense episode so far. Let's talk about cereal. My favorite cereal is Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Okay.
What the
Alright,
fuck
it
is
is-
going
listen,
on?
What-
listen
what
to
is
me.
he doing?
Listen to me.
Okay, go ahead.
It's the superior cereal. Okay, for two reasons.
I
This is how I
disagree.
we can disagree all you want.
I agree with you.
Let me
Um,
share my platform for a second. All right, a few key points.
all right.
Actually, really just two. The first is the crunch
You put a lot of thought into
the
this.
crunch factor of the cereal. Okay, that matters a lot.
Let's hear about.
Right.
Yeah.
Crunch factor, very important. Secondly,
Yeah.
and this is honestly what I value the most. What I assign the most weight to.
Please tell me.
Okay.
Is
If you don't
it's the
fucking spit it out.
flavor of the milk after you finish eating the cereal.
That's a good point.
And I've yet to come across a cereal that after you finish it and you have the milk
Improves
in the
it.
end, that tastes better than Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Cocoa Krispies does a pretty good job. It just turns into chocolate milk.
Yeah.
But I do agree with you. If I have my choice of cereal, I'll probably go with Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Thank you. Jack?
It stays crunchy for a good long time.
Yeah, most cereals get soggy very quick.
And
It's a
cinnamon,
problem.
and Cinnamon Toast Crunch does eventually get soggy.
At which point it's awful.
I want the Barry Board of Trustees to fix that problem.
Yeah.
Why is my cereal so damn soggy? Buster, fix it.
You got to answer for that, Bruce.
Well, this is my opinion on cereal. Hint. Well, listen to me.
All right,
We are.
we're all ears.
This is very important.
Okay.
I don't give a shit about cereal.
That's incredible.
So we're gonna end the podcast
Yeah, let's
here,
do it.
like I was gonna try to do like 30 seconds ago for no reason.
Oh,
It
great.
was interrupted.
What a productive Thursday.
Well,
that was
welcome
really
to
valuable.
the
No, not
worst
welcome.
podcast on Berry College. Send your thoughts and prayers. We won't appreciate them.
It's good to be back.
Yeah. Have a good semester. Bye.